Next item is John Kemp. Item number 2. We will have John make his presentation, and then any questions will follow after that.
Good evening, Vice Chair, Commissioners. I'd like to kick things off with a presentation about 3 specific traffic calming projects. Associate Engineer Lindy Pham will give the presentation.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you, John. So these particular 3 streets has gone through the Carlsbad Residential Traffic Management Program, which is also known as the CRTMP. This program was approved by the City Council in 2001 and is designed to address speeding on residential streets. This program consists of 3 phases. The first phase are initiated when a concerned resident contacts the city. This phase focused on education and enforcement solutions. And phase 2 utilized cost-effective traffic management device such as speed cushions and traffic circle. And phase 3 is a traditional traffic calming, and it's only considered if phase 2 is found to be ineffective. So all 3 subject streets are currently in the phase 2 of CRTMP. In order to be eligible for phase 2, the measured critical speed must be at least 32 miles per hour. And phase 2 places high priority on community supports. It includes the neighborhood meetings with the resident and property owner, and also involve a mail survey to gauge the community support. And in order to proceed, in order for the survey to be considered valid, 50% of the surveys sent out must be returned. And out of those return surveys, 67 must be in support for the plan to move forward. Here is the location map. All 3 streets are located in the southeast quadrant of the southeast quadrant of the city. Avenida Diestro, the study area is from Circular Sequoia to Sitio Bahia, and Cadencia Street is from La Costa to Del Rey Avenue. Estrella de Mar is from Poinsettia Lane to approximately 600 feet south of Olivine Court. So in response to the resident concern on these streets, staff deployed a portable speed feedback sign to measure the critical speed. The critical speed for both Avenida Diestro and Cadencia streets exceed the minimum requirement of 32 miles per hour, therefore are eligible for phase 2. For Estrella de Mar, the critical speed was measured to be 30 miles per hour, which is below the threshold. However, the Traffic and Mobility Commission granted exception for Estrella de Mar on December 5, 2016. As part of the phase 2 process, neighborhood meetings were held for each street. Avenida Diestro meeting was held in July of 2019. Cadencia Street meeting was held on October 2019. And Estrella de Mar meeting was held in August of 2019. At these neighborhood meetings, staff go over the CRTMP process, traffic calming strategies, and tools that can be used to address the residential speeding concern. Staff also present concept plans for a resident to review and to provide any feedback and answer any questions they may have. At the end of the meeting attendees select a preferred concept plan to move forward with. After the meeting, notification letter was sent to resident and property owner that has proposed feature directly in front of their homes. This gives the resident and property owners the opportunity to express any specific concern and for staff to make any adjustment to the concept plan prior to the survey. The meeting attendees for each of these streets have selected an option consists of speed cushions. Here's an example of the speed cushion on Corinthus Street. It is approximately 12 feet in length. It has wheel path cut out to allow emergency vehicle to pass with minimal deflections. It has a parabolic cross section with a maximum height of 3.5 inches. It is much more gradual than the typical speed bump you see in a parking lot. And they're designed to be driven over comfortably at 15-20 miles per hour. Here is the concept plan for Avenida Diestro. Again, the study area is between Circular Sequoia to Sitio Bahia and is about a quarter of a mile. And there's a slope going from east to west. There are 4 speed cushion spacing between 300 to 455 feet. For Cadencia Street, the city area is between La Costa Avenue to approximately 200 feet beyond Del Rey, and it's about 1/10 of a mile, and there is a slope from north to south. And there are 2 speed cushion spacing to 420 feet between these features. And as part of the request from the resident, a right edge striping is also included in the survey. Estrella de Mar study area is between Poinsettia Lane to approximately 600 feet south of Alloy Court, and is sloped from north to south. And there are 5 speed cushion with spacing between 360 feet to 480 feet. So all 3 of these streets, the survey has been concluded, and again, in order for the survey to be considered valid, at least 50% of the survey needs to be returned, and 67% needs to be in support. For Avenida Diestro, the return rate is 68%, and the support rate is 79%. Cadencia Street, the return rate is 70%, and the support rate is 100%. Estrella Mar has a return rate of 69% and a support rate of 94%. So all 3 has met the support criteria of the CRTMP. A notification letter was sent out to inform residents of the survey result and the Traffic and Mobility Commission date on December 19 of 2019. So based on the finding contained in the staff report and per the requirement of the Carlsbad Residential Traffic Management Program, staff recommends that the Traffic and Mobility Commission support the traffic calming plans for Avenida Diestro, Cadencia Street, and Estrella de Mar Road. And this concludes the presentation on traffic calming for these streets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions amongst the commissioners? Commissioner Lindsay?
I don't have a question for the presenters. Very, very good presentation again. I have a disclosure, I guess. I live probably 3 or 4 blocks from the Cadencia Street one, and I'm the president of the homeowners association of all of those people that are affected. So I don't know if I have to recuse myself or what I should do. I'm sort of looking at the attorney for the guidance on this.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that to our attention. So typically, if you live within 400 feet of the area under contemplation, we recommend that you recuse yourself from the action.
Okay. I haven't measured it.
see a map?
3 blocks.
I would recommend being, conservative and recusing yourself in this case, if that's
Should I leave or there are 2 other ones too, so do I?
You won't vote on the matter.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
I do need to go.
Yeah, just with that or any other, so you don't influence it.
You have to make everything fair and transparent. Okay, we have some public comments. We have one from Gary Shapiro. Would you please stand up, please? Please.
Good evening. I'm Gary Shapiro, live at 7927 Avenida Diestro in Carlsbad. And I was on that map, I didn't point out which is my house, but I want to commend the Traffic and Mobility Commission and the engineering for their astute expertise in working with us. I was one of the residents that took the initiative to try to make something happen. We hope it goes sooner than later at this point. We're in a new year. And I am an attorney also by background. And an axiom comes to mind when we're talking about traffic calming or speed cushions that would be implemented. The axiom relates to tort law, and I know that every city attorney here can relate to that, particularly in the area of negligence. And when we think about, do we have to act? Do we have a duty? And I contend, yes, sooner than later, so that we don't have a tragic accident on any one of these streets, but particularly my steep street of Avenida Diestro. And the axiom goes like this: the duty to be obeyed is now let me back up and restate the duty. The risk to be perceived is the duty to be obeyed. So what does that translate to? We know all the time that citizens are violating the law. It's not being enforced. We're not going to hire a separate motorcycle officer to sit on the street and issue tickets to residents that are passing through to take their kids to the high school. So, and it's almost impossibility of performance unless you ride your brakes to go 25 miles an hour, which is the posted speed limit. It's also impractical that we're going to ask the city council to impose putting 25-mile-an-hour speed limit numbers every 10 yards to see if people will comply. One thing is clear: it's not practical to try to change people's behavior. This is not like Mother Nature and climate change. Okay, we can predict people will continue to go down that street, violate the law, but more importantly, pose other people, including themselves, to undue risk by the time they get to the bottom of that street. We have dog walkers, we have joggers, we have people on cycles, and we need to get the speed cushions put in as soon as possible. I can't stress that enough. I know that law enforcement from the city of Carlsbad was here tonight, and yes, it's a cost, but we're going to save lives by doing this as soon as possible. So I urge commissioners to get behind this, and even though I'm the first street that's up tonight, there are two others that are being part of this greater project in different parts of Carlsbad. But I urge the powers to be to please approve this and move this forward to the priority list so that we can avoid the perfect record that we currently have with no tragic accidents. But it can happen. All it takes is one mishap, somebody distracted, not looking at the bending of the curve as they go down to the bottom of the street, and then we'll have something else before a claim in front of the city, which we don't want to have. So thank you for letting me speak, and let's go forward to having it Diestro with traffic cushions.
Thank you. We have another speaker, Tim and Nikki Bryant.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tim Bryant. I'm at, my wife Nikki and I were at 6788 Estrella de Mar Road. We moved in right before the meeting on August 1st for our street, so we didn't have a chance to come to the public hearing and everything. So I think probably a couple comments, a couple questions. Just like the previous gentleman, thank you for what you guys are doing. In the short time that we've been there, we can see why this has been needed for a while. Whether cars are coming from south to north or coming off of Poinsettia, which is a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, dropping down to 25, just like the previous gentleman. You're going downhill, and we see that on a pretty regular basis. The high speed of that street being used as a thoroughfare from Alga or Poinsettia or vice versa. We fundamentally concur with the idea, with the concept. Our concern is the location of one of the speed cushions, specifically number 3. It's right, it's not in front of our driveway, but right near it. And our concern with regards to backing out, pulling out of our driveway, pulling into the driveway, that type of thing. And we just don't know if there's still some time or room to potentially move that speed cushion farther south towards Peridot Court, or if there's any other options that are still on the table. We viewed the video from the August 1st meeting on YouTube and saw that there were a couple other options. One was I think a traffic circle at Peridot Court, and speed cushion number 3 was, if I remember right, was in a different location. So I think when this final plan came out, kind of caught us off guard a little bit because those other 2 options seemed pretty viable to us. And I get it. Everyone is a NIMBY, not in my backyard type of thing. So obviously we're looking at it through the lens of our house. and that speed cushion being right there, but, so I didn't know if there's any more deliberation or chance for potentially relocating that cushion. Our other concern is more, I guess, aesthetic in the sense of usually with these cushions, you have the yellow traffic signs or the yellow reflective signs. Just didn't know where those are going to be, located. If those are going to be in front of our house or right there, if they're going to be offset a little bit from the speed cushions. And then lastly, I think as you go farther south on Estrella de Mar, the speed limit past our area is actually 30 miles an hour, and so then people have to drop down to 25 miles an hour. I just didn't know if the commission had looked at making that speed limit there 25 by 30. I'm not sure if that had been raised in the past. It is a residential area. There are townhouses and condos down there, and they're offset by a median, I think, so maybe that's why it's 30 instead of 25. But I think that contributes to the speed on the street as well as the turning options off of Alga. Because I have a feeling that most people that are speeding from south to north on Estrella de Mar are using it as a cut through to get over to Poinsettia to then go east on Poinsettia. If they were able to come out of Estrella de Mar and make a left essentially onto Alga, which is to the south, and head west on Alga, or excuse me, east on Alga, they probably wouldn't be using our street as a cut through. So just like the gentleman just said, behavior, there's a reason people are speeding through Estrella de Mar, they're using it as a cut through. But that's probably out of the scope of this project and everything. So I think that's it. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have another speaker, Dr. Sarang.
Good evening, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners. I'm here tonight to support installation of speed cushions on Estrella de Mar. As a background, I came to what it used to be called TSC, Traffic Safety Commission, about 4 years ago, 3.5. I think 1 or 2 are still here, others are new. I lived in Estrella de Mar Road 6760. My neighbor is next door to me for nearly 12 years. After the first meeting with the commission, I expressed my personal concern. We don't have children or dogs and cats, but I'm a safety engineer. I'm also a traffic engineer, and I do many other things. My concern was children, cars zoom up Estrella de Mar, slope of about 30 years. This is a funny street. So we can hear them. And I said to the commission, before a kid gets killed, before something, do something. Well, it took nearly 3.5 years for me to come here. Of course, since then, my neighbor Mark and a few others, we talked to John Kim, we talked to Doc, we came to the commission a couple of more times, until finally, thanks to the city management, this project on our street, Estrella de Mar, got started August 1st survey. You saw the statistics. I'm very happy with my neighbors, all highly educated, that the amazing number for approval, 53 return surveys, 50 supported, that's 94%. And overall approval, people leave, there are some rentals, but 69%. So, why am I here? Because I believe this is good for safety, and I'm going to express my personal view. Ms. Lindy, our wonderful young new engineer, who is here, and I worked with her for 6 months, so many meetings, and she's very responsive. She just about talked to all the neighbors. She sent 77 letters out, and we got 94% on their return surveys. The 5 questions, I'm an engineer. I'm addressing myself, but I think the benefit may be for my good neighbor, Tim. One question, number 4, is 4 yards from my garage. And my wife and I thought, what a wonderful idea. Because if Doug Bills, my friend, is speeding, he's going to have to slow down when he gets near my bedroom and our house. Whereas if the speed cushion was 50 yards north or south, they're going to zoom. People zoom. We looked at all options, traffic signs, circles, all of them. None of them work. The speed cushions that the city has installed in many other streets is a role model. It's also on Highway 101 near Leucadia. So, to me, I personally don't have a problem, but we can't please everyone. I'm not Lindy, but she can't please 77 residents. The cushions are going to have to be somewhere. One of them is facing our house. That's okay, because I will slow down, others will slow down. The idea is safety, and these mild speed cushions, I call them, you have to slow down to 15, 20 miles an hour. It doesn't give you the bump. You don't hit your head to the top of the ceiling. And it doesn't make noise. Some people always near my bedroom. So we have worked for 6 months or longer to get here, Madam Vice Chair. I recommend strongly that the commission approve, after 6 months of working with the staff, to approve the current plan of 5 speed cushions for Estrella de Mar. I understand he has to go to the council. I will be there. Hopefully the council approves of the budget, and we install this. I don't want to wait another 2 or 3 years. We've already waited about 4 years for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right now, we have no other public speakers. Is there any follow-up comments, questions? Yeah. We can vote.
Well, there was,
Could I
yeah, there was a
Could I
question
clarify
that
some of
they-
the questions that were brought up before, Mehdi?
Sure.
Since this plan was approved via community survey, we don't have the liberty to change it and seek approval. We'd have to kind of go back to square one. We can do that if the commission directs us to do that or recommends to do that. But I do want to assure any concerned residents that the speed cushion designs are only 3.5 inches high. It does not affect access. We could actually install them right in front of a driveway, and you should be able to get in and out. We try to avoid that as much as possible. Lindy worked very diligently to finalize these locations because of the concerns of the certain residents not wanting to have a particular feature in front of their homes, and we would move it to a new location. And we finally found a location where it appeared that everyone was okay with it. So we'd like to propose Estrella de Mar as presented, since the survey is tied to this particular configuration, unless the commission directs us to do otherwise.
Could you clarify when we were talking about the driveway, do you have some latitude to locate it so that it's not directly in front of the driveway?
None of the proposed speed cushions are in a driveway. Depending on the location of adjacent driveways, speed cushion number 3 is located between 6788 and 6784. We do have some latitude in where that is, if that distance is greater than 12 feet, since our speed cushion is 12 feet. So we could, what address do you?
We're at 6788.
6788. And it looks like it's probably placed closer, a little bit closer to 6784, but it would not affect access. So we can make that adjustment. And as far as signage goes, we're not going to be placing warning signs at every speed cushion location. So the speed cushion locations will not have a big yellow sign in front of people's yards. What we're going to be doing is placing advanced warning signs at either end of Avenida or Estrella de Mar, and then painting the speed cushions with white reflective paint, and then putting a bump reflective pavement legend right on the street in either direction, but no signs next to each speed cushion.
Question. I heard one of the residents say he would recommend a 30-mile-an-hour speed speed zone drop to 25. Is that out of the project realm?
Yes, that's going to be outside of the project zone. When the residents stop on the right-hand map, the roadway characteristic changes and it becomes a street in a residential area, but not a residential street as defined by the California Vehicle Code. And so we're obligated to post a speed limit based on prevailing speeds on that portion. And so therefore, based on that methodology, we wouldn't be able to post it. That's why it's not posted at 25 miles per hour.
Thank you, that's good. Any other thing?
Question, Mr. Kim, for that speed bump 3, is there leeway or is there any reasons to have it in between 6788 and then 2000 on that adjacent court?
It's a matter of spacing. I don't know if we considered particularly placing speed cushion number 3 onto the side of 2000. But again, we're kind of past that point where we're laying out the speed cushions. We've submitted this to the neighborhood as a whole and gotten survey results based on this particular configuration. So if we'd want to consider moving this, we'd have to go back to square one. We'd probably have to maybe shift other ones so that the spacing would be conserved. We don't want to place 2 of them too close together and then the next one would be too far apart. We try to maintain regular spacing. We feel like that is a key component to the success of a traffic calming project.
But that 3, if you were to shift it south 12 feet, would that be within the realm? Would you think that or not?
Oh, can I also add, during the neighborhood meeting, a resident was also concerned because that area, the house is, the bedroom are backloaded. So we're, if the speed cushion are placed at between 2000 and 6788, it will be right where the bedrooms are.
Perfect, okay. Thank you.
Excellent.
Any other questions? If not, we can have a vote on the 3 streets that are mentioned in item 2. I'd like to have a recommendation or proposal, please.
If you want to do it street by street, that might be more appropriate, no?
I asked.
They have a problem with one.
So then question, if we were to go street by street, would Commissioner Linke be able to vote on the different, or do you see that still have to recuse himself on that?
Since the item was agendized as one grouping, I'd say the recusal should still stand.
So it'd be proper to have all 3 in one motion. Can I hear a motion, please?
I move, excuse me, I'll try that again. I move that we approve all 3 of the traffic calming measures.
I'll second.
Thank you. We can vote now, please.
I did vote.
Are you locked in?
Yep.
Linky's empty.
There we go.
There you go. There you
Okay,
go.
it's been approved. Thank you.
Yay.
Cheryl.
Thank you.
Thank you for your input.